Hi, welcome to my channel Ruby Crochet Tejido. Today I'm going to teach you how to knit this beautiful fishtail stitch. It's very easy to do. I hope you guys like it and give it a try. And here is the list of material I'm going to need to make it. If you're not already a subscriber, please subscribe and click on the little bell. That way you get notification each time I upload a video. Remember, I make my videos in Spanish and English, Español. If you receive a Spanish video and you want to see the video in English, go to the main page of my YouTube channel. Then you'll find the English version in there. Also, you can send me a message and I can send you the link. And at the end of each video, I leave a link with a playlist with all my English tutorials. To do this stitch, I'm going to use this leftover yarn. It's medium 4, 100% acrylic, and the knitting needles are 6mm or US 10. I'm going to use 2 markers because the stitch is multiple of 17. And it's working in background stitches, so I'm gonna mark those 17 in the center with a marker. That way it's easier for me to know when to change to the stitch. This stitch is multiple 17, so 17 for the stitch, and I want to leave 7 stitches for each side, so that would be 14 and 17, 31 stitches. So I'm gonna leave a tail long enough for casting on my 31. And you don't have to do 7 stitches on each side. You can do 2, 3, 4 is up to you, the amount that you want to do in between the motifs, okay? But I'm gonna do 7 on each side because I'm only gonna do 1 of the motifs, okay? So like this, you're gonna cast on your stitches. I secure my work with a knot. The tail is a little bit long, but I don't gonna cut it because I can use that yarn, leftover yarn, for another project. If I start cutting all the leftover tail, I will be left with nothing at the end. So I'm gonna start with 2 rows of net, and this is a base for the stitch. This is optional. If you don't want to do this 2 rows of net, you can go straight to the part where I start my stitch, but I'm gonna do this net row all the way until the end and come back with the net row, and then I will start with the first row of the stitch. Okay, I finished the first row on net, and now in my second row I'm gonna place the marker. That way when I start the first row of the stitch, I already have the markers in place. So I'm gonna net 7, place the marker, net 17, and then place the marker, and then I will be ready for row 1. We're going to start with 2 purls for a border stitch, and those 2 always will be purls on the right side and the wrong side of the stitch. And the background stitches are fine net in the right side, purl on the wrong side. These 5. Now we're gonna start with a stitch. Once we pass the marker, we're gonna net 1. We're gonna do a yarn over and net 3. So yarn to the front, yarn over, net 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're gonna slip a stitch netwise to the right hand needle. We're gonna knit the next one, and we're gonna slip off the that stitch over the net stitch and slip it off the needle. Now we're going to purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to knit 2 together. We're going to knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, knit 1, and then you pass the marker. You're going to knit this 5 and 2 purl. So it's a very easy stitch. It looks more complicated than it is, but once you get it going, and 5 knit and the last 2 purls. Now row 2 and every even number row, you're gonna work them as you see them, okay? Except these 2 that always will be purl. You're gonna purl those 2. And then these 5 purl. You're gonna pass the marker and you're gonna purl the first one. The yarn overs always will be a purl, and then you're gonna purl until you have the 5 center stitch that are 5 net, and that will be these 5 in the center. You're gonna do 5 net, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you're gonna purl the rest. Pass the marker and continue purl until the end of this row. Now we're going to work in row 3. You're going to purl the border stitches, 2 purl, 5 background stitches, 5 net, pass the marker. Now you're going to net 2, yarn over, net 3, you're gonna slip this stitch knitwise, you're gonna net the next one, and you're gonna slip off that stitch that you passed without working. Now you're gonna purl 3, you're gonna net 2 together, you're gonna net 3, yarn over, net 2, and just by bringing the yarn to the front, you're creating the yarn over the needle. You're gonna pass the marker, net to 5 background stitches if you're doing 5, and you're gonna purl the last 2 stitches. And that was row 3. Now we're gonna work on row 4. Row 4, you're gonna work the stitches as you see them. You're gonna purl all the stitches except these 3, and the center they are net. So I have my 3 nets now in the center. And you're gonna purl the rest of the stitches. Even the yarn overs. Pass the marker and purl until the end. Turn your work around. We're going to work in row 5. Purl 2, net 5, I'm going to pass the marker. Now you're going to net 3, yarn over, just bring the yarn to the front and knit 3 more. Pass the stitch, the next stitch, knit twice to the next needle, to the right hand needle, knit the next stitch, and just slip off that stitch on top of that one. Now you're going to purl 1, you're going to knit 2 together, knit 3, yarn over and knit 3. So yarn to the front and knit 3. Pass the marker, knit 5, and purl 2. Now in row 6, you're going to purl all the stitch except the one in the center that is a net. So you're going to purl. So this is a very easy stitch. It's a repetition of 8 rows. Not that complicated. This make a nice scarf or a hat, even in a border of a sweater or a cardigan, an open cardigan with this in the front will look really nice. knit 1, and you're gonna purl the rest. Now we're gonna work in row 7. 2 purl, 5 knits, and we work in row 7. That's the marker. Now you're gonna knit 4, yarn over, knit 3, now we're gonna slip the stitch knitwise. We're gonna do 2 together and a knit stitch, and we're gonna slip this one and double that stitch and that. Now you're gonna knit 3, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over and knit 4, and that's it. That is the stitch, because row 8 is all purl, because we don't did any purl in this side, so every stitch was knit in the center. And that's a repetition that you're gonna do over and over, so it's not that bad. It looks more complicated than what it is. So row 8, purl every single stitch. So if you do a hat, and instead of leaving 5 background stitch on each side, you can leave 2 or 3 in between the 17 stitch for the motif. You don't want to leave too much space in between this will look fantastic in a hat for the fall, spring, or if your winter is not as cold as the one here in Canada, this will be perfect for a hat. I'm gonna purl every single stitch. And we are done. Alright, a row repetition. Now you're gonna start all over again with row 1, and I will show you those 8 repetitions one more time. So when you are increasing in here, you are decreasing in the center, and that's why it looks so nice. So we're gonna start with repetition of row 1. 2 purl for the border stitch. And if you're making a hat, you don't need these border stitches, only a couple of stitches for the background in between the stitches of the design, and that's it. That's your marker. Now you're gonna knit 1, yarn over, knit 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna pass this stitch like you're doing a net. You're gonna knit the next one. You're gonna pass this one over that one, and you're gonna purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're gonna knit 2 together. You're gonna knit 3, yarn over, and knit 1. That's the marker. Knit 5, and purl 2. Now we're gonna do the repetition of row 2. You're gonna purl all the stitches until you get to the center, that you have 5 net, and then you purl the rest. So you're gonna do the stitches as you see them. You pass the marker, and you're gonna purl until those 5 in the center, and all the yarn over are purls. So here I have my five nets. One, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But you're gonna purl the rest of the stitches. And now we're gonna work in the repetition of row 3. Purl 2, knit 5, that's the marker. Now you're gonna knit 2, yarn over, knit 5, knit 3, 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna pass the next stitch without working, and then you're gonna knit the next one, and you're gonna pass that one over and cast it out. Now you're gonna purl 3, 1, 2, and 3. You see we are decreasing in the center but increasing with a yarn over, that decrease. And then knit 2 together, knit 3, 1, 2, and 3, yarn over, and knit 2. Pass the marker, knit 5, once you pass the marker, oops, knit those last two and to purl at the end. Turn your work around, and we're going to do the repetition of row 4. You're going to purl the stitches until you do those 3 knits. No, as you see the stitches. Always on the wrong side is as you see the stitches. Except the 2 borders here that I have knit, they're supposed to be purl. Because they look like knit. Now 3 knit in the center. And the rest purls. Now we're going to work and row 5. Repetition of 5. 2 purls. And 5 knits. Pass the marker. Now 3 knits, 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over, 3 knits. Now remember the yarn over is just with you bring the yarn to the front and you create a yarn over. 3. Next one, you slip that stitch to the right hand needle. Next the next one. And pass that one back to the top and cast it off. Now you're going to purl 1 and 2 together and the knit stitch. Knit 3, yarn over. You see, I just bring the yarn to the front, and when I'm going to knit, you see this clear in the yarn over here, and knit 3. Pass the marker, knit 5, and purl 2. Row 6, you're gonna purl all the stitch until you knit the one in the center, only 1 knit, and then the rest is purls. You're going to purl all the stitches except 1 that is a net in the center. This is much easier with the marker in place because we don't have to worry that we did an extra background stitch. So now a knit, and the rest is purls. Now we're going to do 7, 2 purls, 5 nets, pass the marker, oops, now 4 net, 1, 2, 3, and 4, yarn over 3 nets, 1, 2, and 3. Now you're going to pass the stitch without working. Now you're going to do these two together in the net stitch, and then you're going to pass that one over. Now 3 nets, yarn over 4 nets, 3 and 4, pass the marker, 5 nets, and 2 purls. And row A is all purl until the end. So in row A you want to purl all the stitches until the end. I'm going to do this one off camera, and I will show you what the stitch look like after 2 repetition of the motif. And here it is, those 2 repetition. I'm going to work for 1 or 2 more off camera, that way you can see better the design. This will look amazing if you do a cardigan, and then all the way around you do a piece with this stitch. It will look amazing. It's a beautiful stitch design, and for a hat as well. So I'm gonna work off camera for 1 or 2 more of these motifs, and I will show you how to cast them off. And remember, in the description box I'm gonna leave the pattern of this stitch, just from those 17 stitches. I did 2 more repetition of the fishtail lace. It look amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful stitch. So now I'm gonna do 2 rows of net like we did at the beginning, 2 rows of net, and then after that we're gonna cast off or bind off our stitches. The 2 purl stitch, I will purl them in this side and in this one, just in this row, and then in the next one I will net all the stitches. Now I'm gonna bind off or cast off the stitches and the purl stitch. So you purl the first one, purl the second one, and pass the first one on top of the second. Purl the next one and pass the one in the back and top of the one in the front. And like this you're gonna cast off all your stitches. Well, this is my fishtail stitch. It look amazing. I love it. This for a sweater, you know, you do a knitted sweater and then this just in the front, it will look amazing. Or you do a cardigan and you do that long like a scarf and sew it all the way around, and this in the front will look incredible. A scarf, and here when you flip it around in the wrong side, it tends to fold a little bit, but you just steam it a little bit and will go flat. For a hat or a shawl, a circular poncho, this will look amazing. I love it. I hope you guys like it and give it a try and a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you are not already a subscriber. And if you make this beautiful stitch or anything with it, or any of my design, and you want to send me some picture, you can do it through my Facebook page Ruby Crochet Tejido or my Instagram Ruby Crochet Tejido. Please share my video with friends and family and in groups, that way you help me grow here in YouTube. I wish you have a beautiful day. Bye.